to another exciting episode of Otaku Bros Live. And I am flying solo, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gio, as they like to call me on this channel on the Omnibus Collectors Network. So I am very happy to be here talking some manga, talking about some reviews that I wanted to do last episode, last Monday. Maybe sneak in a few Q's and A's before we wrap this up, but mostly just give you my thoughts on some wonderful books, as well as some manga recommendations from yours truly. Now, I see some people are already in the chat, and I am very happy about that. That is awesome. I really want to apologize for last Monday. That was just a horrible stream night for me. The modem wasn't working, and I tried, and I filed like 5 different complaints, and nobody knows what the heck is going on. So I'm using something like an extra temporary router and all that stuff. So hopefully it works. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. It's just for today. But I'm flying solo, so that should help the stream, and that should help get the message across, I guess. So, yeah, I want to give a shout out to River, Fenner27, Travis. Thank you guys for tuning in. We already, according to StreamYard, I don't know if it's reliable or not, we already got 12 people in. That is awesome. I'm very happy about that. That's great. Thank you, everybody, for the support and for liking the content. We are very close to 3,000 subscribers on this channel, so that is very, very cool. Thank you for supporting us and believing in the type of content that we want to make for everybody out there on the interwebs. Crazy Jane, thank you. Travis, The Collector, everybody that's tuning in, thank you so much. I will highlight comments later. El Denver just popped in, and we're going to talk just 4 or 5 books that I wanted to recommend, but with a strange twist. However, before we get started with the manga talk, I have to do this, and I apologize. But last Monday, I was scheduled along with the rest of the Omnibros to talk about review books. I think we've been doing review books for a whole year now, I think, and this was supposed to be my first time reviewing books provided by our wonderful sponsor, InStockTrades.com. And unfortunately, I could not do it that Monday. But while I am on the subject of our sponsor, InStock Trades, let me remind you that this is our wonderful sponsor where you can get your collected editions and manga up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts tack on an extra 2% to that. And if you order $50 or more in your collected editions, you get free shipping. Now, who doesn't love free shipping? I know I do. I see free shipping. I am a happy dude. I don't know about you guys. How about that? Fantastic customer service, wonderful packaging that you can only get at InStockTrades.com. So with that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I had to review 3 comic books, Murder Falcon, Green Lantern by Grant Morrison, and the Thanos oversized hardcover from Donny Cates. And I made separate views. I made separate videos on my individual channel, which you can see right there, Weekend Geekdom. If you want to go in depth about it, you can visit my channel. But since we're talking about manga, I want to keep the reviews light and brief. Digging on that, yeah. So yeah, I wanted to keep it concise. Basically, I liked 97% of what I read in those 3 books. Murder Falcon was exceptional, one of my favorite reads of the year so far, and I have a horrible time keeping record of what I read. I'm not somebody that does the whole list and inventory on what you've read and all that stuff, so sorry. I barely remember of anything that comes out, so yeah, but of what I've read that has come out in 2019, Murder Falcon is easily one of my favorite reads. I don't know if you guys want to hear the whole summary of what the book is about, but basically, sort of like this evil rip opens up on Earth, and a bunch of evil kaiju monsters led by Magnum Chaos, this Siegfried nightmare looking monster that reminded me from the Soul Calibur days. He shows up, and along with him there's also Murder Falcon, which, you know, he's this giant mutated falcon with a huge metal arm, and he's going to defeat the forces of evil with the help of his human friends. We meet Jake and company and his band Bruticus that recently split up. Yeah, they team up and all that stuff, and are going to defeat the villains with the power of metal. And that to me sounds pretty spectacular, pretty epic so far. I absolutely loved it. The book is not long. It's 8 issues. I thought it was pretty heartwarming, wholesome, and all kinds of badass. I love the idea of using the power of metal music, or not necessarily metal. It's not that it's metal per se. It's just the fact that you can use music as a plot device. And music throughout humanity, the history of our world, has been something that has bound every single one of us together in some shape or form. Like, I myself listen to different songs from different languages and stuff. I don't speak that language, but you feel it, you know? I love listening to some anime theme songs, and I love listening to a different world music and all that stuff. So I get the concept that Daniel Warren Johnson was trying to do, and how music has the power to heal and mend wounds. And I thought that was pretty funny and brilliant and heartwarming at the same time. You have the character of Jake that has been going through something pretty sad and horrific, and how even though he split from his band, how he's able to get everybody back together for a common goal, I should say. And I think the most important lesson that you can get from a book like Murder Falcon is to face your fears. It might be scary and it sucks, but you got to do it. And the book teaches you to be courageous about it, to be brave and stand up. And even if you fall, you will still be accomplishing something just on a personal level. So on that regard, I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. Great writing, fantastic artwork. It was a really wonderful experience. Now with Green Lantern by Grant Morrison. I got to be completely honest with you guys. I did not understand what the heck I was reading for the first 2.5 issues. I'll be straight up with you guys. I didn't understand squat. And it was a little bit too fast paced to what was happening at the beginning. There's this alien heist, and I get it. Sometimes you're not supposed to understand what's happening. And as soon as you keep going, you start understanding the comic and all that stuff. And yeah, about halfway through, I went, you know what? Let me start over, calm down, and take it a little bit slower. And I did. And I did understand what was happening, but it was still trippy as hell, as only Morrison can do. It's pretty reader friendly, but just know that it's not necessarily sci-fi entry level. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know a few things, especially because Morrison likes to throw random space mumbo jumbo at it. You have the character of Hal Jordan, and he is essentially it's this cop drama, and they're trying to figure out about a traitor in the Corps, and something very special has been stolen that a recent Lantern was protecting. He was injured, near death, and all that stuff. So the Lantern Corps has assigned Hal to investigate. It also leads into the Earth being stolen, and a godlike creature being involved, and it's all pretty wacky, pretty zany. But at the end of the day, it's very, at least to me, it felt very neo-noir heavy, especially with Liam Sharp's amazing artwork. I really, in my video, I was talking about how Sharp was inspired by Geiger and his drawings and art style and all that stuff. And it definitely shows. It felt to me like I was reading a book from, do you guys remember the heavy metal animated movie when they go into space and how distinct the visuals looked with the stars passing by, all the lights and buildings. It kind of reminded me of that. The art is very dark, moody. It fits the whole cop drama thing, and it can be a little bit claustrophobic to some extent. But I loved it, especially on the scenes where you see the nebula. I think it was the Horsehead Nebula. I might be wrong about that, but it looks very real. It looks very sort of photorealistic, and it lends to the frightening aspect of space. I liked it. I thought it was pretty awesome. I have heard that it dips going forward, but I'm looking forward to volume 2 eventually. It's a shame that the book was not an oversized hardcover. That really sucks. I think a book like this would benefit from it being an oversized hardcover. And if you've never read Green Lantern, like I said, I think it's an interesting entry point. Though I would honestly recommend the Jeff Johns, because I think that was like the pinnacle of coolness when it came to Green Lantern. But this is the next best thing, and I am very happy to add it to my shelf. I'm looking at it right now on my Green Lantern cube on my bookshelf, and yeah, it was pretty cool. El Denver, yeah, Morrison is not entry level at all, but I do think that the Green Lantern book is very easy compared to other stuff that he's written. And I am not necessarily the biggest fan of Grant Morrison. I like his work. I'm not just a super fan, I guess I should say. But I do think it was a pretty cool new entry point to the character, in my honest opinion. I might be wrong about that. Finally, the last book I had to read and review was the Thanos by Donny Cates oversized hardcover. This, to me, I thought it was going to be overhyped because I know a lot of people like that book and have spoken wonderful things about it, marvelous things. And I went in thinking I was going to hate it for some reason. Now, I've spoken on this channel that I don't like to hate on things. I don't believe in that. I either like it or you don't like it. But for the most part, and here's this 97% I was talking about earlier, I liked it. I thought it was pretty kick-ass, pretty action-packed, fun, epic 6-issue story where you see a whole new side of future Thanos and the cool examination of the character. To me, the character has always been sort of like this hurricane in the Marvel universe. They don't necessarily use him a lot, but when Thanos shows up, you know things are going to go down. And I think Donny blew into the scene with this book, and he did a fantastic job. I love what they did with the Hulk. That was pretty creative and pretty terrifying. And the whole future aspect, and sort of like, it reminded me like a comic book Cosmic Looper storyline. I don't know, it's weird. Cosmic Ghost Rider debuted. I thought he was cool. I don't 100% love the character, but he's still cool. The book itself is larger than 6 issues. The Thanos annual, I will be completely honest with you guys, I did not like whatsoever. I thought the artistic style that was used on it with different artists and stuff, I thought that was very jarring and distracting. I don't mind that stuff, but when you do Jeff Shaw artwork and it's so badass, to follow it up with Chibi Thanos or Fraser Irving trippy sci-fi Thanos, I wasn't feeling it. I did not care whatsoever. It serves the plot along, I guess, just a few inches, moving the story forward. Then we get the Cosmic Ghost Rider miniseries, those 5 issues, which kind of reminded me of Invincible for some reason. I thought the art was pretty cool. The story was pretty wacky. I liked it. It does give you some much-needed exposition on the Cosmic Ghost Rider and who he is. So that was fine, I guess. And last was the Thanos Legacy one-shot, which was pretty cool. I liked it, and it sets up what is happening with Cates' 12-issue run on Guardians of the Galaxy and all that stuff. I have not read that, so I really do not know what's happening right now. But overall, my main complaint with the book is that, I mean, you could have just added the previous run, because this is issues, I think it was 13 to 18. You could have added the 12 issues prior to this, and just called it an omnibus. Now, if you want to collect the whole Thanos run, you need 2 trade paperbacks and this oversized hardcover, or you can just get the single trade to match the other ones. I don't know. I think they could have mapped it out a little bit cooler or better. But it's fun. It's a fun read nonetheless. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I wanted to say that and more last Monday, but I'm very happy and I'm very generous. And thank you so much to our wonderful sponsor, InStockTrades.com. And you know what? I'm going to stick a banner in here for the duration of the stream. So visit our sponsor, InStockTrades.com. We love them. Our chat loves them. Everybody loves them. They have wonderful deals and great customer service. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It truly is a blessing that I can get a review copy. I mean, I'm a schmuck. I'm a nobody, and I get a review copy. Definitely blessed. It was definitely one of my highlights of the year so far. Just really cool. Fantastic. Yeah. So let's go over a few. Oh, Fenner, thank you. Thank you so much. You're cleaning your room while listening to me. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I hate cleaning rooms, especially bookshelves. So tedious. I hate it. Yeah. Anyways, we didn't come here for this. We came here for manga and anime, the Japanese side of things, if you will. So for today's show, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I watch a lot of anime. Thank you, El Denver. Thank you so much. I didn't even to make a jingle. Yeah, I kind of toyed with the idea, but that is more of Omnidog's thing. You would not want to hear me sing. That would be terrible for humanity. So I was just doing my old radio voice thing. But thank you, everybody. Okay, so for today's show, like I was mentioning, I wanted to do something different. Usually on OTAKUBROS Ryley reads a ton of manga, same as Luis, same as whenever we have Nelson on and Adonis and a whole bunch of other guests that have not shown up yet, but they will eventually. They are very heavy into manga. Unfortunately, I do not have space for manga. I only have a couple cubes where I'm, because I reorganized my shelf so I could add a few manga, but I don't have the space or luxury to pack them all in. So I don't read them as much as the other guys. What I do check out a lot is anime. Now, this is mostly a manga-centric show, and I didn't want to deviate from that. But I wanted to mix the two things, and I wanted to highlight, as of September 2019, as of this recording, I wanted to highlight 4 or 5 books that I like, that I think are pretty freaking fantastic, that are anime, or I should say they're anime that I really like, that are based off of manga. And they are current hits that people are loving and buying and reading and all that stuff. So, yeah. A3N, Cowboy Bebop, greatest anime of all time. I would seriously, if I ever make a list of any all-time greatest, it has to be in here. But yeah, I'll that's a topic for another show. But yeah, it deserves that spot as one of the greats. Not the greatest, but certainly one of the greats. That is up for debate, depending, because it's all subjective, right? Anyways, I wanted to make this cool blend of anime that I like in 2019 that have manga that you can get at InStockTrades.com. So you can visit the website and you can pick these titles up. In no particular order, although there is one title that I will leave for the end because we covered it in previous episodes, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more in depth at the end of the show. But I wanted to start this list with 4 or 5 titles. Hayden, no, you're just in time. I just reviewed my comic book review copies. So now I'm getting into the small topic at hand, which is some recommendations on my part. So the first book that I wanted to recommend, or the first show that I'm watching that I'm really enjoying, and by the way, these aren't like the best things in the world. I'm not trying to say like, has there ever been an anime that was actually better than the manga? Well, I'd have to do some homework on that, but I'll look into that. These aren't like amazing. Some of them are, but most of them are like, they're okay titles. But the anime, I really do enjoy, and I think they're wonderful. The first book I wanted to recommend is a manga called Astra Lost in Space. It is published by Shonen Jump. And by the way, I never mentioned it, but I do have the Shonen Jump app on my phone, and I am subscribed. So I'm starting to read more manga digitally. Here is, I don't know if I can show the full image, but here is, oh, that looks terrible. Astro Lost in Space. I have the chapters here. I do believe the story ended, if I'm not mistaken. And it's basically about a group of teenagers that are going to like a summer camp. It's in the future, obviously, it's in space. They're going to the summer camp, and sort of this accident happens, and they get flung like 5,000 miles, I don't know, light years away from Earth. And now they are literally lost in space and fighting for their lives. And how do they survive, and how do they get back? It's a group of different teenagers, and they're all, for the most part, I think they're really, yeah, it's like space camp. I think they're really interesting. They're really well developed characters. And the series kind of does get a little bit melodramatic, especially once you find out the reasoning as to the accident, because there is sort of like this conspiracy happening and a lot of mysteries surrounding why they get flung out so far into space. So when they do, they happen to come across a ship, and they're going to use that to hop from planet to planet on a star map to get back to their home planet of Earth. And I thought that was pretty clever. The characters, like I said, for the most part, I think they're well done. They're pretty interesting. And the main characters themselves, the one thing I will fault it for when I say melodramatic is that you have an explanation as to what's happening with the plot, and then all of a sudden there's this major plot twist, and you're like, wait a minute, that came out of nowhere. But it's such a fun twist. I really love it. I have a fun time with that series. It's not too long. I think it's only like 5 or 6 books, I think. In the app, there's like 50 chapters or something. So I would recommend it if you like space adventures, if you like sort of like that Lost in Space kind of vibe. It's pretty fun. Do suspend your disbelief, because there are some things, like the story is set in like 2063, which is obviously impossible in today's world. But I just like to think like it's an alternate Earth where technology did advance forward. But there are some goofs and gaffes where I just ignore it, because I don't like to nitpick. I'm just having fun with it. I just thought it was pretty humorous how, like, for example, a character needs to fix something, and he's like, oh, I got this space glue gun that can do it, and fixes the thing. I'm like, okay. But it's a fun series. You can pick up the books at instocktrades.com. The second series that I wanted to recommend, I actually do have the book right here, is Fire Force. Fire Force, I was reading the manga. I did some a video on it on my channel, and for the most part, it's a pretty fun shonen-y battle manga. It's published by Kodansha Comics, and basically it's a firefighting squad fighting what's the word that they use? Spontaneous human combustion. It sounds absurd, but it's from Atsushi Okubo. He did Soul Eater. It's fun. There are some complaints from readers, and I did get some comments on it, that there is a bit of unnecessary fan service at some point in the series with with one or two characters. Yeah, but I tend to ignore it simply because the plot is so different. I like the idea that it's literally firefighters fighting, actual punching, fighting fires themselves. And David Production is doing the anime for it, and they have just been killing it. It is one of the most gorgeous looking shows of 2019. There is another show that I'll talk about later, but for the most part, they have just been firing on all cylinders. I'll say that much with Fire Force. Shinra wants to be a hero. He wants to be a superhero, and I respect that, because who hasn't wanted to be a superhero growing up? And he wants to save people because he lost his mom and sibling to one of these combustions and fires and all that stuff. And supposedly there is a conspiracy behind it. And that's sort of the mystery as to, yeah, he's going to fight fires, but it sort of drives the plot along. And you start finding out about corporations wanting to monopolize the combustion, because when it happens, it forms like into these fire demon looking things, and they are out to kill people. So there is sort of like that tycoon level conspiracy with corporations trying to take advantage and all that stuff, and some infighting between squads. I think it's pretty interesting. Not necessarily like the best thing in the world, especially compared to other stuff that I'm going to talk about, but for the most part, super fun. Yeah, Travis, with a lot of manga, you just got to suspend your disbelief and just enjoy it. Exactly. You got to have fun, man. If you take things too serious, you're not going to have a fun time. You're not going to enjoy it. I remember, I can't remember how long it was, but somebody was complaining about Dr. Stone, which I'm not going to mention on this show, but I'm like, dude, just go with it. It's fun. It's a Shonen Jump title. It's for a certain demographic. It's not supposed to be like an adult title and all that stuff. So just have fun, enjoy life, and read awesome manga and comics. Also, the art in it is just clean. I love this art on Fire Force, and the anime just looks exactly like that. Here are the fire demons, which actually this was the reason why I picked up the book, because I saw this image. I'm like, that looks awesome. Fire demons and firefighting squads. Shinra, as you can see, he's got fire feet. I do believe it's called the Devil's Footprints, basically meaning like he can control fire and do like have like superpower, super abilities. He can fly and jump and kick real hard with fire. It's pretty interesting. Some of their powers are pretty unique. Like there's one captain that can freeze the enemy with like I think it was a tuba, because is using compressed air, and it sucks all the fire away. So at such a high rapid pace that it freezes the opponent. It's pretty wacky. And if yeah, Tyler, episode 7, catch up to episode, I think the latest one was 8, 9, I don't remember right now, but it is awesome. And I love how it's sort of reminded me like Bleach and Naruto and all that stuff with different abilities. It's pretty fun. Like I said, there is sort of this fan servicey thing, but just, ignore it. I don't think they mean to do it on, I don't know. It's more of a goof on their end, like a comedic relief thing, but I don't necessarily like it, but I just tend to ignore it and have fun with the story because it's actually pretty fun. And Shinra, I love the idea that whenever he's nervous, he grins and he looks sort of devilish. So people make fun of that and think he's a weirdo. And I do believe we've all experienced that at some point. So I think it's sort of a clever metaphor on puberty. Don't quote me on that. So that was Fire Force. You can also get it at In-Stock Trades. Next up on my list is Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga is I'm not the most expert on the subject. I will tell you right now, and I do want to read the manga eventually, but I have been watching the show, and I can recommend it, even though it. And the chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the anime took a slightly different detour when animating the story, because if you read the plot description, basically it spoils the main motivation of our main hero Thorfinn, and what he. And by the way, I'm terrible with Nordic names and stuff, so please don't skewer me in the comments. Um, his motivations get spoiled in the plot description. Basically, he is trying to avenge the death of his father, and actually ends up joining the group of mercenaries that did it. And it's in the middle of the Danish London invasion, that time period. I think it's the year 1013, 14, something like that. It's a historical drama. It's based on a few things. I have to pull up the link because I don't know the name by heart. It is the story draws elements from historical accounts of the period, such as the saga of the Greenlanders and the saga of Eric the Red. And if you like historical fiction and you like actual history, you're gonna have a really fun time, because this is an excellent series. And the manga, from what I've looked, is just as great. And the rest of my friends keep telling me, like, you got to add it to the collection, man. That's a heavy hitter. I agree. I've read a few chapters online by chance, and it's pretty fantastic. Hold up. I actually want to highlight this. Thank you. This is the greatest episode of Omnibroslove, because Gio is the best and we're getting him all to ourselves. Thank you, Tyler. Finally, some recognition. I'm joking. I love everybody, and everybody's awesome. Wonderful guys. My teammates in this YouTube mission, they're all wonderful human beings, and I love every single one of them. And I love all of you guys as well. So I do recommend Vinland Saga if you want Viking action. And I like that the rules of the manga and the rules of the show, by the way, you can watch it on Amazon Prime if you have that. The rules of the show, life and death, are realistic to what our understanding of them are. You don't get characters that, like, yeah, some of them can do some really impressive feats, but it doesn't go too out there. If a character gets hurt, he gets hurt. If he gets cut up, you feel it through the way the artist, the creator, wanted to express that. And I really appreciated that. It's unlike most manga that you're going to read, in that, like, yeah, it takes some liberties with the source material, with real life, if you will. But for the most part, it's a fun adventure, and seeing the growth of Thorfinn has been pretty spectacular. Sometimes I do get the feeling that it's a very sad story, and on a personal level, I don't I don't necessarily enjoy each chapter, not because the story is bad, it's because I find it sad, and I want the character to get better, and I don't know, it's just a little bit too sad for me, especially with the way people lived their lives back then. And I don't know, I thought it was pretty spectacular. So if you haven't checked out Vinland Saga, I do recommend it. It comes out in like these epic, huge hardcovers that you can get at IST. I think there's like 11 of them. So it's a pretty long series. If you're in it, if you're interested, and pick up the first volume, let us know in the comments. I'm sure there are a lot of Vinland Saga fans in the show today, in the comments and the chat. But I do like it. And if you want to watch the anime, it's done by Wit Studios. They did Attack on Titan. And if you know anything about Attack on Titan, the art in it is superb. So it really, really looks amazing. I love it. I look forward to it every week. So, Son of a Preacher Man. I love Vinland Saga. I just finished it a couple of weeks ago. Nice. I'm trying not to spoil myself, because I mentioned earlier that the plot sort of reveals the main motivation for the character, and the anime just took its sweet time adapting that plot description. And I do believe, like, once you hit like episode 4 or 5, you're like, okay, now the story actually begins, the plot and stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Eventually, I do want to do like a full video on Vinland Saga with the rest of the guys. Next up on my list is a pretty odd title. It is O Maidens in Your Savage Season. It is something that I know a lot of people in the chat are probably going like, wait, what? You're recommending that out of everything? But it is one of my favorite shows of 2019 so far. It is something I look forward to every week. It is a very funny, heartwarming, and smartly written series. It is done by Mari Okada. She worked in anime, and this is her first manga. She did stuff like Makia, the anime movie, and Anohana being one of my favorite anime series of all time. I love that series so much. It is such a powerful series, to me at least. It was really something else. And this is her first manga. It's a sort of a coming-of-age story with a literature club in this school with, I think there were 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there are 5 girls, and they're all in this club. And one of them wanting to be sort of like an icebreaker. She says to say, what was it? Say one thing you want to do before you die. One of the girls blurts out to have sex because, you know, teenagers, hormones, puberty, and all that stuff. And it's not your typical sex comedy, rom-com, and all that stuff. I find it pretty heartwarming. The characters are fantastically done. They're very real in the way they display their emotions, and you can relate to them. Sure, there is a gap. There is a gender gap, obviously, but who hasn't gone through, our weird high school phases and confused about romance and sex and growing up and puberty and all that stuff. So the characters, it's not played off as a joke. There are some hilarious moments because of the awkwardness of being a teenager and growing up. But for the most part, you get a story of 5 girls who live very different lives. They share a deep friendship, being in the literature club, writing and reading and all that stuff. And they want to experience this natural, beautiful human emotion phenomenon, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get flagged by YouTube for nonsense. So I thought it was pretty smart, pretty funny, and just wonderful, wholesome content. The anime is just breathtaking. The animation that's used on it, I love it. It's easily one of the best written shows of 2019. One of the best written shows of 2019. I do recommend it. O Maidens in Your Savage Season. That is also available at instocktrades.com. I look forward each week to Vinland Saga, O Maidens, Fire Force, Astra Lost in Space. And you know what? I got time. I got a couple more minutes for you with you guys. I got room for 2 more suggestions. I'm not going to talk about Dr. Stone. I love it. We've already talked about it on the show. It's great. I do want to mention something that I thought was pretty interesting. To the Abandoned Sacred Beast. It's a fun series. It's not the best series, but it's sort of like watching a low resolution Michael Bay flick. The plot is somewhere in there, but it has a lot of cool fights with some questionable animation at times. But for the most part, it's a pretty just fun popcorn throwaway show that you can get into. I hear the manga is pretty similar. It came first, obviously. But To the Abandoned Sacred Beast is basically this alternate version of the United States. The country is called Patria. But it's weird because it literally reads like the Spanish word for patria, and it's divided like the Civil War with the North and the South. And to get an edge on the South, the North basically injects these people with like superhuman serums and transforms them into like kaiju monsters. Like one will look like a harpy, another like a giant werewolf, creatures like that. And they use that to turn the tide of war and win the Civil War. After that, we find out that the serum is poisoning the soldiers and transforming them to the actual beast, and they're losing their soul or consciousness or whatever, and they're becoming a danger to everybody. So the lead scientist that created or I think she created the serum, she wants to get rid of it and destroy everybody with like these god killer bullets, and she eventually develops the bullet. But one of our main characters, Hank, he is the captain of this monster squad, if you will, and he wants to stop her, and eventually the bad guy, which is one of the lieutenants in the squad, kills the scientist, which was Hank's love interest, and sort of keeps these monsters alive. So a couple years later, our main plot kicks in, and you have the character of Hank trying to destroy his former squad members because they've lost their consciousness, and they're just rampaging monsters, killing everybody. And we also meet the character of Nancy, and to me, she's the saving grace of the series, of the manga, of the anime, of everything. If the series did not have this character, I would not be talking about it. I would not be recommending it to you guys. I think she's a fantastic, cute as heck character, armed with a rifle. She's avenging her pops and is going with Hank, finding these monsters and all that stuff. So the main problem I had with it was that the anime, is done by Mappa Studios. I love Mappa, whatever. They did Zombieland Saga, which is one of my favorite animes of last year. They did the excellent Dororo adaptation, which is one of my other picks, but you know, the source material is like 50 years old. And they have done a lot of good work. So I was expecting the same level of attention with Dororo with this, because it lends itself to be a fun adventure. Unfortunately, they probably got the C or B team animating it, and some episodes at the beginning they look cool, and then others just look but for the most part, like I mentioned, for the most part it's style over substance, but it's fun style nonetheless. I don't know if you guys have read it, have read the manga, or seen the show. So yeah, To the Abandoned Sacred Beast, you can get it as well at instocktrades.com. The other title that I was going to recommend, we've already talked about it. Everybody knows what it is, and it is, of course, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is a fantastic series. We've already covered the story, basically demon hunting in 18th century Japan with the Demon Slayer core, and the anime is firing on all cylinders. Ufotable has done a fantastic job. The manga is amazing. I recently purchased all the available manga volumes. I wish I could highlight them on the stream, but they haven't arrived yet. So I will be checking out the manga and catching up, because the anime, the first season is like 26 episodes. We're nearing the end of the first season. I'm pretty sure that will get picked up for a second season ASAP. So if you haven't read or seen Demon Slayer, what are you doing with your life? Go ahead and check it out if you can, as well as visiting our sponsor website, instocktrades.com. You can get Demon Slayer, Astro Lost in Space, Vinland Saga, O Maidens in Your Savage Season, Fire Force, and To the Abandoned Sacred Beast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my recommendations. There are a ton more, but again, it's just me. I'm by myself, so I'm not going to bore you with hundreds of titles. I just wanted to pick out at least 4 or 5 books that I think you guys might enjoy. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got, folks. If you guys have any questions, I am more than happy to answer. Wow, you guys have typed a lot of stuff. All right, let me highlight some quick questions from the chat. Fenner, waiting for Murder Falcon to get on Hoopla. I hope it gets there because it's pretty badass. Murder Falcon rocks. Yes, it does. El Denver, Death Note is awesome, but seems to get overlooked for some reason. I think it's just Death Note. It was great when it came out, and it just blew up, and everybody loved it, and it's a modern classic. But it's been a while. I think it's been more like 10 years, and it cooled down, I guess. Thank you, River. Thank you so much. Denver Morrison is actually my favorite writer. I get sometimes I read twice. Yeah. Okay. Catching up with the chat. Sorry about that, guys. For everybody watching later and not live. Fabulous packaging. Yep, that's InStockTrades.com. Fenner, I started Made in Abyss. The manga looks amazing. The anime the anime is also fantastic. I did a review on it on my channel. It was one of my favorite ones last year. Just breathtaking, but not for kids. Please, I have to make that disclaimer. Do not show this to kids. Made in Abyss is wonderful. It looks great. It looks kiddish, but it's not. It's very dark, and it goes into some very disturbing and horrific areas. Very gruesome at some point as well. So yeah. I think I'm liking manga more than American comics at the moment. Yeah, that's awesome. I love comics. I love every single type of comic, but I do have to agree that the problem for me personally with comic books is that eventually you do get that burnout, because a lot of comics, especially with Marvel and DC, it can get repetitive because the characters are cyclical. They cannot advance. You can't do certain things with the character, and then they get another writer gets it, and he reboots it, and you start all over again. And that other new writer does something new, and then it's rinse and repeat, and the same stories keep going and going and going. There's never going to be an end point. At least what I like with manga is that you get a whole bunch of crazy stuff with the topics, and the manga itself can end. Even the Shonen Jump titles, as long as they are. Like recently, Oda announced that he has like a 5-year plan to end One Piece. So eventually that too will end. There is an end point, and part of the story has to have an end, in my opinion. Spider-Man, for example, will always be there for me, and then the next generation will have their stories. But with manga, you can have that. You can have that conclusion and be satisfying. So I do understand, Fenner, when you say that you're liking manga more than comics. But I like both equally. They're fantastic mediums, nonetheless. Astra, yeah, it's awesome. Wow, I'm really behind in the comments. Holy moly. I was going to highlight Tyler, but I already did that. Black Clover is awesome. I do want to do an episode with Adonis because he was the one that made me into a Black Clover fan. I haven't read the manga, but I am up to date with the anime, which recently hit 100 episodes. And it is so much fun. I love Black Clover so much. And I did order the first volume. And eventually in the future, I do want to collect that series. But I do have volume 1 coming soon to my library. Let's see. Tyler, you're going to watch Super Broly. I still haven't watched that movie. I'm sort of burnt out on all things DBZ. I know it's great. I know it's fantastic. I know everybody's going like, what now? Yeah, I haven't seen it. But Broly's my favorite Dragon Ball character per se, so I'm really excited to check it out eventually. Let's see. No assistant needed tonight. I actually understood that reference, Aldember. That's awesome. Those two guys. God bless them. I think I might be the only person in America reading Gleipnir. I just butchered that. Our friend Flip Otaku did a video on it, first impressions or something like that. That was pretty fun. Anyone read Nichio or City? No, I actually do want to check it out. It's on the list of things I want to check out. Oof, this is a good topic in and of itself. Ed Brubaker of manga. Everybody in the chat talked about Urasawa. I kind of have to agree. His crime stuff is pretty spectacular. I think Jess may have been wrecking the show. There hasn't been one issue all night. That is awesome. That's what I wanted from the very beginning. I'm very excited that there isn't a lot of issues going on tonight. Lou, if you're still in the if you're still watching this thing, give me a second, because I do not have the links right now. Hold on. Travis, I don't watch anime and I really want to watch yeah, if you don't watch anime, that's okay. But if there's one thing that I do want you guys to check out is Demon Slayer, because let's face it, the manga doesn't have the best style compared to other manga and other classics and whatnot. But Ufotable just took this awesome manga and just exploded the story into the stratosphere with how gorgeous it looks. There is some genuine masterpiece level animation going on, from CG characters dancing to the twirling motions of sword attacks to the way blood is displayed, the backgrounds. It's all seamless. Like, there are transition elements going on that just look fantastic. So if you can, please check it out. You can check it out at Crunchyroll or Hulu, Funimation, all that stuff. It is coming pretty soon to Toonami. If you don't do the internet thing and you watch Toonami like I used to, the dub will premiere soon. I think it's next month, early next month. So yeah, I am going to check it out in English because I love voiceover. Dubbing is one of my passions and something I want to do. So I like to check out the show. All right, let's give me one quick second, guys. Let's see if I can get another knucklehead in this chat. Sorry, I didn't have what's the word? I didn't have Facebook open where I could chat with you. But we are nearing the end of the episode, so I do apologize. Just so we're crying. I'm sorry. I was on a roll. I was trying to get through the list. I have it written down here with some other stuff. So I do apologize on that. Just so we're crying.
Hey, holy crap.
I was on a roll. I was trying to get through the list. I have it written down here with some other stuff.
There we go. Got it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, dude.
It's okay. I mean, I was flying. So let me take this off. All right. I was flying solo. So I just said, you know what? I don't need distractions. So I shut everything off of my phone and everything. So I wasn't paying attention to the chat. So sorry about that, buddy.
No, man. No worries. I just kind of came in here to back you up a little bit. But it seemed I was in the chat for like a good 15 minutes. I was trying to get your shit. How you been? How's everything?
I'm doing great. I rented out sort of like this phone modem thing.
You look a lot better.
It's clear. It's working pretty well. Like, my previous modem works, but for some reason, nobody can figure out what the hell's going on. It keeps disconnecting and reconnecting, so I can't. That's why I was cutting off on and off. And I've asked the people via phone, and they're like, "Well, I don't know what's happening. It's working." Like, clearly it's not. So yeah, I filed 5 complaints, and I do not know what's happening. Supposedly tomorrow it is going to get fixed. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's
I don't believe it, but let's see.
Yeah, that's what they always say in Puerto Rico. Oh yeah, we'll fix it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll fix it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, sure.
Oh man, so I heard Kimetsu no Yaiba. Is that how you pronounce it? Is that what we're talking about tonight?
Kimetsu no Yaiba. Yeah.
Okay.
God,
yeah, man.
Such weebs.
Oh, 100%. Good lord. God,
I recently ordered the manga. I think, were you here when I told my story about the manga where In Stock Trades had the coupon and I totally forgot to use it?
No, I was not here for that.
Our wonderful sponsor, they tend to put out codes from now and then, and I'm like, okay, I can use the code. Screw it, I'm gonna order Demon Slayer, all the volumes. I think it was like 8 volumes. I have the thing ready, and I make the order, and order placed, and I'm like, crap, I did not put the code. So yeah, but the story is that I recently bought all the Demon Slayer manga volumes. They haven't arrived yet, but I will highlight them eventually on the channel.
Cool, man. Yeah, I read it digitally, so I use the Shonen Jump app, and it's Demon Slayer is a bit weird in terms of the Shonen Jump app. It's whenever there's a new volume out, that's when they update Demon Slayer on the Shonen Jump app. Like they put out the weekly chapters, but I think it jumps from, I think it's like 60, like 73 or something like that right now, and then it jumps to like 120 something. So what they're doing is that when a new volume comes out, it fills in that gap.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it sucks because you got to wait, but
yeah,
you know, I'd rather read a huge chunk than just one chapter.
Yeah, no, I'm going through that right now with My Hero Academia, where I'm all caught up and I'm like reading it one chapter by chapter, and I'm like, oh god,
I need to do a marathon on that before the season starts, and I'll tell you why. I'm not going to name who it is, but somebody I know, he's very anime only, and I kind of want to be a little bit more cocky about it and have the knowledge beforehand. So he's going to ask me some stuff, and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that happened in the manga a long time ago. So I need to catch up before the anime starts, which is October 12th, I think, this 4th season.
So you're up to, where are you up to as far as like manga? What's the last thing you read in the manga?
When they were going to rescue the kid with the horn.
Okay, so you're still there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you need to catch up. You absolutely 100%, because you are like right on the cusp of one of the best fights in several best fights in the series. Like you are right there. There are several moments in the next few chapters and in the next few volumes that top almost everything else that came before it.
That sounds awesome.
So good. It really is.
Fenner, Black Clover, you can, if you're asking about Black Clover, you can watch it on Crunchyroll and Hulu.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I just started Black Clover the other night. I started on the first chapter. It's good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a series that gets a lot of slack at the beginning because it's sort of like you've read that stuff before. Yeah. A lot of people made the comparison, oh, it's Naruto, but with magic. I don't agree with that 100%, but then again, all the Shonen Jump stuff is pretty similar. The main characters all share similar traits, so it's pretty unfair to compare it to Naruto when Naruto himself is, you know, you can make the leap that, oh, Naruto is based on Dragon Ball, Goku, like, you know. But it's fun. It's a fun series.
Yeah, Shonen Jump, they have a type. Like their main characters definitely have a type.
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody, I don't know where I read this, but Asta, he trains like Goku. He behaves like a mixture of Naruto and like he's got the drive of like Ichigo. He's a composite of different Shonen Jump protagonists, I think.
Right.
But it's fun.
No, it definitely is. I recommend, just based on the one chapter I've read it got me hooked. I'm interested in the crux of the story, even though it does feel like I've read some of that before.
Yeah, I mean, give it like a few chapters, and it does get a whole lot better. Like
Okay.
when there is an attack that happens eventually, and it just blows up. In my opinion, I love it.
Cool. Cool. I'll check it out.
Fenner started Witch Hat Atelier. That is pretty stuff. I've been meaning to read it because everybody's been talking some good stuff about it. I will try and get that first book eventually with my next order. We can both answer this, I think. Have you seen Perfect Blue?
No, in fact, I haven't.
Perfect Blue is from Satoshi Kon, one of my favorite directors of all time. I love all his movies, and Perfect Blue is just one of his masterpieces. It's pretty fantastic. I mean, just a psychological thriller and this social commentary on the idol fanfare in Japan with the idol groups and singers.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Awesome, amazing. Just a piece of art, in my opinion. I need to get that Blu-ray. I have the DVD.
Oh, cool. What's it about? It's just, like I said, social commentary about like the pop groups and stuff like that in Japan.
Yeah, it's this crazed fan obsessing over a famous singer from an idol group and the lengths that he goes through to reach her and all that stuff. So it goes into very heavy subjects with stalking and obsession and all that stuff.
Oh, cool, man. That sounds, yeah, because like Japan, you know, as much as we love Japan and we all want to visit there and stuff like that, their culture is a bit different in terms of stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a shame. You know, they certainly have a way with things, but they do make some really cool anime, though.
That is cool. Yeah. And we can be thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. What is the last anime feature film you have watched? Originally, this episode was going to be about this, but since nobody in the chat could make it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to talk about this for the whole episode because, you know, I haven't read the manga, and I do want to discuss the manga.
Right.
So that was the last thing. I watched it last night, and it's still great. But yeah, eventually we'll do an Akira episode.
Ironically enough, it was the same thing for me. It was Akira because I watched it to do the Akira episode a few months back, but it didn't pan out. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. That was probably the last feature-length anime that I watched. It holds up really well, incredibly well.
Mm-hmm. This is the DVD. I'm not going to get the Blu-ray because the 4K is coming out next year, so I'd rather wait for that.
Are you getting the 4K?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, why would I know me? I know that if I get the Blu-ray, then I'm going to be pissed off because there's the 4K and I want to get that. So I'm, I'll skip the Blu-ray and I'll just stick with this until the DVD until the 4K comes out.
I always forget you do have the 4K set up in your living room at your house.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of 4K movies though. Just mostly it's the superhero stuff, which I collect.
Cool.
But yeah. So it's been over an hour, but I wanted to include you in the topic. I was sort of talking about like 2019 reads that you wanted to recommend or stuff that you want to recommend to people. You have the floor, my friend.
Well, I mean, as far as manga and like stuff like that, do we have to do can we do films as well, like anime?
No, whatever you want. I just because I watch more than you guys.
Okay.
You guys read more books, so I went at it with sort of like anime 2019 that is based on manga. That's what I wanted to talk about, but you can recommend whatever you want.
Okay, so my My Hero Academia continues to be great as always. If you're not caught up, I always recommend people use the Shonen Jump app. It's all on there, $2 a month, can't beat it. Apparently, I'm far from being caught up on One Piece, but apparently something huge happened this week on One Piece because it was trending on Twitter.
Wow.
For whatever reason. It was big enough to be trending in the United States. So I'm like, wow, what happened?
Damn.
Yeah. Let me think. So that's pretty big news. Black Clover, I read the first issue, first chapter. We talked about it. Pretty paint by the numbers, but I dig it enough that I want to keep going. And it's got kind of a good enough hook in that first chapter that I'm like, okay, well, characters seem kind of by the numbers and stuff like that, but it's good enough where I'm like, I kind of want to see where this is going. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Demon Slayer continues to be freaking fantastic. Either way, you watch the anime or you read the manga. I recommend both. The animation in the anime is chef's kiss, just beautiful, incredibly beautiful. I always forget this guy. What's the dude that falls asleep and he's a badass?
Zenitsu.
Zenitsu is my spirit animal. I love that guy.
I love him. He's so badass. I love him.
He is so badass, man. And he doesn't. The thing is, he doesn't even realize it. That's what I love so much about him. Man, it's been a minute. I gotta go back and reread some of that Demon Slayer stuff. What was the name of the girl? I'm blanking on the characters' names right now. It's been a long day.
The Nezuko.
Nezuko. Nezuko is like the cutest demon that you've ever seen, and you instantly want to protect her the minute you see her. But like I've been talking a lot about the Omnis, but Demon Slayer is probably going to go on my list this year for like one of my best discoveries of this year because I love the hell out of that series.
Agreed.
And that is really about it. Oh, Promised Neverland continues to be. It's wrapping up soon. I think it's what they said, or if it had.
I think so.
I'm behind, but I've been really digging that as well. So that's my recommendations for right now. I'm not reading too much else in terms of manga with Western comics like Marvel and stuff like that, killing it. So
cool. If you haven't read or watched My Hero Academia, is watching the movie new reader watcher friendly? I think so.
I haven't seen the movie.
The movie, it's canonical and it takes place between season 2 and season 3. But anime movies are meant to be pretty friendly for new watcher readers, in my opinion. There are some things you're going to be a little bit lost on because it's assumed that you know about the first season and what Deku is all about and all that stuff. So I would watch at least a couple episodes, the starting episodes, and how everything comes to be and why are there superheroes and all that stuff. But the movie's pretty friendly, I think. Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
It's not the best movie. The plot is very generic, but the animation's solid. It's pretty funny. It's pretty fun to look at.
Is it worth it just to see young All Might? Because I know he makes an appearance there.
Oh yeah. That was the flashback scenes in the US. They're really awesome. I like that.
Okay, so he is canonically American then.
No.
Oh no.
There's a reason why he gets the names and all that stuff, but I think not. I don't know. I have to look up on that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Him being with his last name, it wouldn't make sense him being American.
But there is a reason in the movie. They explain why the state names for the attacks and all that stuff.
Cool. I'll check that out.
El Denver. It seems a bit overwhelming to start One Piece. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you like it, let's see. There are a couple compilation movies that you want to check that you can check out, and if you like them, then you can keep going. But I don't know, man. I mean, if you're interested in it, just go in and just have fun and watch it or read it. Reading it is faster because the anime has a ton of filler episodes, so I do recommend reading it though. If you are interested, do get the 3-in-1s. In-Stock Trades has them for like $10, which is a steal. You're paying the price of one manga book and you're getting 2 for free, basically. So I would recommend that route if you want to check it out. But it's a classic. It's a modern anime manga classic, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's I would agree. It's overwhelming. There's over 900 chapters, and he's gonna crack 1,000 before the series even.
Yeah, he said that he wanted to finish it in 5 years. Part of me doesn't believe it, but part of me kind of wants it to happen so the damn thing can end and we can have an ending to it. But we'll see.
I mean, it's my recommendation for you is just kind of do what I'm doing, where you'll sit down with it, you binge just like 50, 60 chapters, as many as you want, take a break, and then come back to it like a few months later, which is what I'm doing. Because I'm up to chapter like 150, 160 something. and I'm about ready in the next few weeks to kind of dive back in and do a huge binge on it again.
I'm stuck in Skypiea. I'm still in Skypiea.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I know what happens up to Water 7 with the anime, but I am reading it in the manga for the first time. So manga-wise, I'm stuck at Skypiea. Just haven't had like the motivation to like pick up the books again, but I will soon enough. That's a tough question. Is Miura ever going to finish Berserk?
No. I firmly don't think he will at this point. I really don't.
Volume 40 is coming out. Apparently something huge happens. I haven't spoiled myself on it. Omar said something epic happens, so I'm excited about that.
I don't know. I don't think he's gonna finish it. He's, the guy's, he's a slow creator.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that he's been doing it since 87, 88, something like that, 86, and he still hasn't finished. I'm like, come on, dude. I mean, Oda, since 97, 98, he's done nearly 1,000 chapters. Come on, man.
But Oda is a machine. Like, you have to understand Oda's like work ethic or whatever it is, because to be able to do that for since 97, what is it?
I think it's 96 or 97. I think I can't remember right now.
To be able to do that for over 20 years and week in and week out with a few little misses here and there, to be able to do that is insane.
Oh yeah, I mean the work ethic that these guys have is just insane compared to comics, in my opinion. Are you guys going to pick up No Guns Life when it comes out? Actually, I think Volume 1 is already available at another website that I won't name, but I'm certain that In Stock Trades is going to carry it. It looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty wacky. Basically, a guy wakes up and he's been like, they put a gun in his head or something like that, and he's like, he has a revolver for a head. And according to what I've seen online, it's sort of like this cyberpunk-ish story with noir elements. It looks interesting. I want to check it out.
Yeah, the art looks nice.
Yeah, Madhouse is doing the anime. That's coming out next month too, so I want to check that show out. So, yeah. If anybody has any other questions, write them up, write them in, let us know, because we're about to wrap things up. I've been going for an hour. I thought I was like, probably do like 40 minutes, but I get passionate about manga and keep going. While you guys are typing questions, let me remind you that all of the manga that we've talked about, from Black Clover to Berserk to the stuff I recommended earlier, like Demon Slayer, Astra, Fire Force, all that stuff you can find at our fabulous sponsor, InStockTrades.com. Once again, you can get your collected editions from them and manga up to 50% off. There's loyalty discounts week to week that they can tack on an extra 2%. If you order $50 or more in your collected editions order, you can get free shipping. It has one of the best, fantastic, wonderful customer service, just the best overall packaging of any site that you'll ever encounter, of any store. And you can only get that at InStockTrades.com.
Good job.
So there you go.
Damn straight. No jingle though.
That's Jess's bit. Yeah, that's Jess. I'm not musically inclined like he is. God bless him. So with that said, I think we are going to wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. I'm so happy that you guys showed up for a completely improvised episode, because it was going to be Akira themed, but it wasn't. But we'll eventually tackle that. We also want to do topics on stuff like Gundam, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I actually want to do like rom-coms and stuff like that in manga. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Next episode, whenever the heck that is, it's going to be previews for October. And hopefully Ryley can join us because he likes to go over previews. That's his thing. And you'll stick around and watch more Otaku Bros live. Louise, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff, and on YouTube, where I have new videos normally up Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. This week was kind of rocky. In fact, as we're speaking right now, I've got a Rick Reminder video that's being uploaded in the hopes to get. Yeah, it's been buffer. It's been a pain in the ass to get this one up today. Yeah. On top of that teaching stuff. But yeah, you can find me on those platforms. And yeah, Q&A for me is tomorrow night at Friday at 8 o'clock. So yeah, be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. And you can find me at A Week in Geekdom, where I talk about comics, anime, manga, and everything else in between. That's A Week in Geekdom here on YouTube. So for everybody here and the production staff, the wonderful production staff at the Omnibus Collectors Network, thank you so very much. We will catch all of you on our next stream a couple of weeks from now. So, bye. It's ending the broadcast and it's taking too long, but it's going to end